What's up guys, it's Sergey from Freediving, and today we're going to talk about safety for open water session. Before we start, as usual, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe to it. Here on a weekly basis, or more or less on a weekly basis, I'm sharing with you guys some freediving information, freediving training tips, some reviews of freediving products, etc, etc. So if you are a freediver, I'm guaranteed that it's going to be interesting for you. This channel is going to be interesting. So don't forget, click subscribe button, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, safety for open water session.
I can hear your laughter coming waves across the shore. Oh, maybe you could fly my kite, babe. Maybe you could fly my kite, babe. I can hear your laughter coming waves across the shore. Oh, maybe you could fly my kite, babe. Maybe you could fly my kite, babe.
First of all, why we need to do a safety? There is always risk, not always, but there is a risk that when freediver coming up from his dive, shallow water blackout can happen. If you don't know what is a shallow water blackout and how to avoid it, you can find the video, my video about this subject in the description to this video, in the description below to this video. So this is why when your freediving buddy coming up, you want to dive, meet him approximately 1/3 of the depth, approximately, and then escort to the surface. So sounds pretty simple. It is pretty simple. But there are few mistakes which I see from time to time from freedivers who come to our dive center to train. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, quite often it's not enough rest between the session. So first mistake is when freediver doesn't have enough rest before he or she is doing safety. For example, you come up from your dive, from your deep dive, and then after a couple of seconds your body already starts his dive, and then after, let's say, 30 seconds you're supposed to dive and you're supposed to do a safety for this freediver. So what is the problem here? The problem is that you have to be ready to react in case of emergency. Yeah, maybe it doesn't sound like a challenge if you're gonna meet your diver at 10 or 12 meters and just escort to the surface, but imagine if actually emergency happened, and then when you do a safety, your diver lost the conscious, let's say quite deep, let's say 10 meters, and now you need to bring the diver up to the surface, you need to do all the rescue procedure, so you need to be ready for this. So this is why when you finish your dive and before you start doing safety, make sure you have enough rest. So usually you have a communication with your safety diver, and for example, when I come up, I'm telling my diver, okay, I need 1 minute more, maybe 2 minutes more, and when I feel that I'm ready, give okay sign for your diver, okay, now you can start your dive. And now you are ready not simply to dive and escort, but you're ready to react in case of emergency, you're ready to deal with a shallow water blackout if unfortunately it happened. Okay, have enough rest after you dive. Second, make sure that your equipment is ready. Quite often, let's say when I dive, even if I dive with a mask or with a nose clip, obviously I don't use a snorkel. So maybe my snorkel inside the float, or maybe I left it on the boat. And then when I do a safety, I need to look, is my divers coming up or not? Then I need to breathe, because I don't want to hold my breath too much, and then I check it again, and then I breathing, check it again, and breathing. And this is not the perfect way to prepare yourself for a dive, right? So this is why it's good when you do safety for your diver, you have a snorkel. When you are looking from the surface, you have a snorkel, you're breathing through the snorkel, you are ready to do the safety. Same with the fins. Let's say you are doing no fin session, and then you come up after you dive, and then your body time to dive, and then you are too lazy to put your fins on. Not good idea at all. You're not gonna do a proper safety if you're diving without the fins, right? So put your fins on, make sure your mask on, make sure your snorkel in, and only then you can let your diver know that okay, you're ready to do the safety. Signals. Signals, I means how do you know that it's time to start the dive. So here we're talking about like a basic safety for open water session. For more advanced freedivers, there's going to be slightly different. So normally advanced freedivers, experienced freedivers, more correctly to say, know how long exactly the dive. They know how long it will take them to reach the depths and pull the line, etc, etc, etc. So this is why for experienced freedivers it can be slightly different. But for the beginners, when you do a diving like a 15, 20, 30 meters, then appropriate safety, you can lie on the surface and holding the line, and when your body, when your diver reach target depths, he or she using the line to turn to start the ascent, and then from the surface you feel this turn, you feel this pull, and then you start your dive. So you're lying on the surface and holding the line. I do recommend still use your equipment, use your mask and snorkel, and watch the diver. In case if the diver forget to pull, or in case if your diver turn early, or in case if it is choppy and you miss the actual pull. So this is why it's good idea to, even when you're holding the line, still watch the diver from the surface. In this case, even if the diver forget to pull the line, you still can do a safety as soon as you see that the diver is coming up. Okay, so signals means make sure you know exactly when to start your dive. You don't want to start your dive too late when your body is almost on the surface, and obviously you don't want to start your dive too early, because then you have to dive longer and you need to be sure that it's comfortable for you to dive that deep and stay that long there. So this is the next one which I already mentioned, look underwater even when you are holding the line for the safety. So finish watching your diver after full recovery. Again, it's a mistake when the diver, let's say you do a safety for your diver, the diver come up, he start doing breathing, and you're like, okay, he's fine, I need to now take off my fins because I do no fins, or I'm gonna use my nose clips, and you like stop putting attention. I see these problems, I think it is the most often from what I mentioned above, right? I see this pretty often. And let's say even today what happened, we was doing a training session this afternoon, and then one of the diver come up on the surface, he started breathing, he was okay, and then I saw that it was a small symptoms of LMC. So it was quite small, but again, because I was still watching him, I grabbed his elbow, helped him to remove the mask, and just encouraged him to breathe. And then the diver was okay. So it was not like a full LMC. So it was kind of small LMC. So this is why this is important. When your diver come up, you're still keeping attention on the diver, still making sure that the diver doing his recovery breath and the diver is okay. Okay, so again, this is another problem. When the diver come up, even before he start doing recovery, he show you okay, and then okay, he showed me okay. No, it's not enough. So you need to be sure that your diver is doing recovery, he recovered, he's fine, and now you can start prepare for your dive, right? So this is a simple rules. Again, this is a basic safety for open water sessions. I forget to write the word basic, so it can be a little bit more complicated, but again, this is the rules which you have to follow. Okay, so this is it what I was planning to say today. If you like my video and if you find something useful, and even if you don't find anything useful, don't forget to pull the like buttons. It's just good put the like. And guys, don't forget, I really appreciate any of your comments, so if you have anything to say, please leave it in comments. It will mean a lot for me to read your feedback. Okay, thank you one more time for your attention, and see you next time.